Welcome to another Special Art Talk podcast. I'm Dan Ma.
And I'm Veronica Reeves.
Last time we talked to a sexy Dave Seiler and made some sexy talk about Denver's art scene and Denver art galleries. Today we are following up on our
illustrious
series of the Denver art scene with Denver artist
Phil Bender.
Mr. Bender,
Big Daddy,
is the founder of Pirate Gallery, which was largely responsible for the alternative art scene in Denver.
Hot.
Mr. Bender,
Big Daddy,
has work in the Denver Art Museum, and whose work can be described as poppy, recycled, nostalgic,
and creamy.
Like, I was just saying to Dan, I don't even know where you went to school or anything like that. And
right. Well, that's a big part of how Pirate got started.
Mm-hmm.
So, Metro. And there were a bunch of us graduating 79, 80, about that time. And one of the guys had a studio that was $60 a month, 13th and Broadway, that he was going to let go. And I said, hey, let's keep it, get 4 other people, for $10 a month, we can have a co-op. And it was a nice little rectangular room, and unfortunately, it fell away. They, this doesn't really matter, but they had an animator in the building who got a new client. They needed more space, so they took it.
They said.
So it took us 6 months before we found our other building and got it open, which was at 16th and Market, and it was before the mall.
Oh, I was going to say it's a prime location now.
It was a beat up old building, up a flight of stairs, down the hall, and it was offices, but it was mostly artist studios in there. And it was above the Kabuki Lounge, Japanese restaurant. And we opened there on January 1st, 1980, with 8 members, we thought. The 8th member, who had the studio at 13th and Broadway, he never showed up for the show. Never showed up, never hung anywhere, never participated. So he just kind of fell by the wayside. But it was because of his studio that's how it got started. The fact that he had this place for cheap, and I had tried to open a co-op in Dallas in the early 70s when I lived in Dallas.
And you lived in Dallas? Oh,
we looked at several buildings, but it never could pull it together. And a bunch of us were at junior college in Dallas at that time, going to school together, and then outlying friends too. But several of us were Metro. Maybe four of the 6 or something. But anyway, that never panned out. But it was always in my mind to get a co-op going. Finally got it open January 1st, 1980. I think we had it about 3 weeks before we opened. So we went in, and it was ugly green walls. We painted them white and planned the opening on January 1st. I don't know if it was a Friday or Saturday or what it was. In those days, there wasn't a big Friday opening thing going on. It was like Spark opened 6 months before we did, and I didn't even know about it until later. And then there were 2 or 3 galleries in town that were good, commercial art galleries, and we're all students just getting out of school. We had student shows at Emmanuel and stuff like that. After that, you're out of school. What are you going to do?
Yeah, you have to get your work shown somehow.
Let's put on our own show, like the Little Rascals. And let's put on a show at Granddad's Barn. So that's what we did. We rented a place and started putting on shows, and boy, it's been fun ever since. Yeah, we had 2 12-by-20 rooms with a connecting door. That was our first built location. It was $100 a month, $50 a room. 12-by-20, is that what I said? Yeah, 2 12-by-20 rooms, yeah.
Okay.
This was on Broadway?
16th of Market.
Okay.
Yeah. We never opened on Broadway. We're off Broadway. I never thought about that until it was off Broadway. And then a year later, we moved to 15th and Central. We had a falling out with our landlord, I think that, no, I don't know if that's what, I don't think we had to move because of that. But this guy had got this whole, just on the other side of the highway on 15th Street, as you cross the highway and you go up that hill, like where Forest River 5 is,
Yeah.
it became an arts district. Because this old guy was managing all those old buildings over there. And Pirate moved over there, and we opened on,
That was when it was the first Pirate.
that was the second
That was
Pirate.
the second.
And it was, I think we moved and timed it where we opened on January 1st, 1981, at the new location. And we were there for a while, for a year or so, and there were about 8 galleries there for a while, really nice little strip for a while, and then Muddy's was up there halfway in the middle of the block. It's only one block from 15th up to whatever that other street is up there. We're down the street from Lola now. But there were about 8 galleries. They had the Colorado Graphic Arts Center was over there. They printmaking studio.
Oh.
So they were over there. And then oh yeah, when we all moved in and made it cool, we got kicked out. They thought, oh, this is the Greenwich. This is the new Greenwich Village of Denver. Real estate.
That didn't go well.
These guys, we were paying $125 a month over there for a 2-level job with a view of downtown. It was great. Before they
nice.
built all the condos, along Platt Street there. So that was nice, $125 a month. And then one of our members was driving around in here one day and found this building for sale, or not for sale, but for rent. And we had the whole corner for many, many years. I think it was $375 a month when we first moved down.
Well, what date was that?
That was February something of 82. 82, yeah.
Then you moved
So we were
in.
like 1 year, and then here. Thank goodness. I'm glad we have to move every year. So we're 33. We'll be 33 and a half on June 1st. But 31 and a half years here, roughly.
I see.
So when you finally found this location, is that when you guys felt like you were getting a lot more traction, or were you getting pretty good traction from the previous locations?
Well, the first location, we were the only gallery I could think of in the neighborhood. 15th Street was nice because of the company we had. But they all dispersed. I don't know where they went. We were the only ones here. We weren't too concerned about traffic, you mean, right? Yeah. We weren't too concerned about that because it's like people come here. If they know about you and they like you, they'll come here. They don't have to be on the beat. We couldn't afford to be at Cherry Creek.
No.
For the walk-in traffic. And we still say here, sometimes the walk-in traffic here, we just assume they kept walking. That some of the neighborhood people,
Right.
they're just a pain in the ass. But, and then Edge came along years later. I can't even remember how many years later. I'll have to ask them sometime when they moved over there. And then Zip opened at one point, mostly former members of Pirate. Reed and Chandler, I think we're both members. I know many of the original members were former Pirates. And then
So that's how you got to Reed and Chandler. Did they own this place?
No, not at the time.
Not at the time.
At the time, I think Reed was a member. He joined in 1980. I do remember that. He joined while we were still in downtown. And Chandler, I don't remember when she came in.
We thought Chandler was the guy for the longest time.
Oh.
I just go off of Veronica, and then I don't know where. Veronica,
I know what you're saying.
information.
Yeah, it is a kind of a man's name. Yeah. But since I've known Chandler,
we never met Chandler, so for
Yeah.
some reason we just thought Chandler was a guy.
and it never crossed my mind, of course, because I knew him.
Right,
I remember
right.
the Pirate. And they were fresh out of CSU or someplace up north. They went to one of the northern schools.
Oh.
And then after we were here for a while, this building, I guess, went on the market or something. And they looked into it with their families. One or both of their families, they got a little bit of money, I guess. So in their investment, they bought it. Actually, they may have even moved in as a rental.
That's what I've heard. Yeah,
I think they rented that apartment before they bought the building.
They even had children or a child.
Oh, once they had children, then eventually they moved out into a neighborhood with a house, and they've been happily ever after. But no, boy, they were so smart and so lucky to be able to do that. To even think about doing it, we never even considered looking to buy a building. Because if you think about it, if you buy it today, next year it's going to cost more. Every year it's going to cost more, and you'll never catch up if you're paying rent. You'll never get anywhere. But it's too late now. We can't afford anything. I mean, there might be a neighborhood but we have to be in central Denver. And this is kind of not even central Denver, but it's more central than, say, Globeville, not Globeville, because Rhino's encroaching on that over there pretty well. But further, like Commerce City or Inglewood, even it's just too far off the beaten track.
The rent keeps going up.
And with all this development, these new buildings down here, Pagliacci's, they're going to put a 61-unit building on that corner. Pagliacci's was 61 units.
Oh wow!
And this thing here. That raised our property taxes, or Reed's property taxes, which raised our rent. So, what can you do? It's progress.
I think it got a couple more years.
And it's because we moved in here and made the neighborhood more interesting.
Of course.
Yeah, there's a destination
I wish there was
now.
some kind of pioneer discount where people who move in like that could take advantage of that and be able to buy something and stay in the neighborhood for what, in some ways, developed it. Because in New York, same thing. Every neighborhood that the artists moved in, it became hip, chic, and they all got priced out.
That's the way Venice was. It was no one wanted to live there. Then the poor people who couldn't afford anything.
California?
No, Venice, Italy. Yeah, it started out just this muddy swamp, and then the poor people were forced to live there. So they turned it into something attractive and livable, and then it became quaint and
Venice,
interesting.
California, probably the same thing.
Yeah.
Even some places starting to wise up to it. Like Paducah, Kentucky. There's like, artists, come on in, just make this place better. And then Veronica told me that in Portland they have an artist tax or whatever.
Years ago, I was talking to people in Aurora. They were doing a thing where artists move in and they can get city loans and all that kind of stuff, where they could actually buy something and not get priced out once it became hip and chic. But that's Aurora, downtown.
They're
Aurora.
a little desperate,
right around the Fox Theater out there. That little strip. They're still struggling to get it going. And, they have
they're
First
trying
Fridays.
really hard. They have good leadership over there. They've got a lot of public art program initiatives.
The lady who runs it, she hired me. I did a project out there for a year and a half or so. And it totally fizzled at the auction. They didn't make any money. But it was a found object project. And for a lot of people, paintings are, but found objects aren't. Maybe I guess that's stigma.
Pushing the limits.
That's stigma,
Yeah, we talked to Dave Seiler, and one of my kind of questions that I was kind of always thought was like, why does Denver have so many co-ops versus other places?
Yeah, I know.
He said one reason is because Denver doesn't. There's not enough commercial galleries to really support the artists here, so that's why the community is really, really strong. And some different places where the economics is different, they're able to, take care of the local artists as much, but not so much in Denver.
Right.
Was his hypothesis.
Yeah, and then there's something about Denver that keeps people here and gets people to move here. And the art schools, whatever existing art scene. And in the last decade, the new Museum of Contemporary Art, even the Clifford Still, Red Line, that's another rung on our ladder. Places like that start opening, and you wonder how many artists are floating around in Kansas City or places, saying, "Hey, let's move to Denver. It's happening over there." as opposed to say, let's move to New York and try it there.
Yeah.
They know how hard that's going to be.
That's saturated. Yeah.
It's so difficult to break in up there, I guess.
Have you lived in one of those big cities?
I used to have a timeshare in New York, so I got a feel for it. But I've spent maybe 3 to 4 weeks a year up there. Mark Sink had a little 70 square foot sleeping room that he had lived in for a while. And when he moved back here, he kept it for, how much was it? It was like...
You had a grandfather?
Well, yeah, he had been there a while. He had been there for a while. Now, what we were doing was probably not quite kosher, legal, whatever, but he would pay the rent, and he got mail there, and the landlord hopefully didn't come around and see a lot of different strangers coming in and out of that apartment. I call it an apartment, that room.
Closet?
But it was a fine little room. It was on the second floor, so it overlooked the courtyard in the back with the trees. And it was on 21st between 7th and 8th, Chelsea. Before it got even more. Because now that building, he finally got bought out. And I don't even know if the facade is still there. But they totally gutted it. And who knows how many units are in there. That was a great little neighborhood, boy. You'll walk up the steps, brownstone kind of deal. And then you go up another flight of stairs. You got a little 70 square foot room. Here's a bathroom over here in the hall that you share with three other apartments, I think. And everybody was pretty neat and clean. It wasn't like a crack house or anything. And then there were 3 floors. Each floor, I think, had their own bathroom. So that was nice while it lasted. And then what we paid was $200 a year. We could use it for 1 month.
Really?
And, if you figure 3 nights, you've already saved your hotel money. And that's a cheap hotel if you can even find them. So that was the main advantage to that, is a cheap place to stay. And that was sweet. So I got a good feeling for it. There were days when I didn't get on a bus or metro. I just stayed in the neighborhood and did laundry. And, but I'd go for 3 weeks sometimes. 2 weeks sometimes, 3 weeks. A week if I had to. But I worked for a travel agency. I got free airfare.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And you got to eat. Food prices there were the same as they were here. Being a bachelor, I eat out a lot anyway, so. Yeah, that was a wonderful deal while it lasted.
Do you remember who the original pirate members were?
Oh, yeah. Kevin, the original member, I call him the original member, the one that put the two of us, hey, I'm going to give the studio up. Hey, let's not give it up. Let's keep it. Kevin, I can't remember his name. He moved to Chicago sometime shortly thereafter. He introduced me to punk rock, new wave, in 78, probably, something like that. He was a record guy, hanging out at Wax Tracks. He bought all those cool imports and stuff. They were, ahead of everybody else on the new kind of music coming in. So it was Kevin, me, Paul Schroeder, who went to Metro with it. 7 of the original members went to Metro. And the 8th member was at the time we opened, my ex-wife, Jennifer Melton, who shows across the street at Zip still.
Oh.
She does the zany underwear, painted underwear and stuff, and the ironing boards and whatever. So, yeah, she decided, she's going to become an artist and join Pirate. So she's been dealing with that for 33 years. And let's see, Renee Silverberg, Marie Foster, Georgianne Schultz, that's 3, and Paul, Kevin, me, 2 more. I can't think who they were right now. But Claudia, who's a member here now, do you know Claudia?
Claudia Roulier. Yeah.
Shows at Core 2.
Yeah.
She was a member in 81. I do remember that. There's a picture of them back there on the bathroom wall, the Hellcats. Yeah, Claudia's in there with her short shorts. Jennifer's got her tank top and tennis shoes on with her hair. Like that's Jennifer. In that
Okay.
picture. Eve Baker, Karen, forget Karen's last name, but she killed herself back in the 80s, I think. And there was one other one, Eve, Jennifer, Georgette. One of the original members, Georgette. Georgette was known for her little baby dolls, little rubber toy babies with a safety pin through their head. So you wear it, punk rock days. Everybody always remember those babies with the safety pin through the head.
What were your best years?
What's that?
What were your best years here?
Man, it's hard to say.
The funnest years you've had.
The 80s probably. A lot of people, I don't know. I mean, I thought about it last night. Our neon sign burnt out. Now, I don't think we're burnt out, but it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. In fact, our signs burn out. That's not a good sign. But and you could ask Michael Polly that question, and he'll tell you. He's got his opinion.
Oh.
I remember
Maybe
one
we
time
will.
at an event, he said something like, "Yeah, I remember when Pirate used to be good."
Oh.
God, I'm sitting there, and everybody knew I was there. He knew I was there. Everybody looks at me. Well, hopefully they didn't all agree with him either. How's it going? Call you back here in a little bit, but I'm planning on coming home after I get the clothes down here. Alrighty. Oh, anyway. Where were we?
Well, we were talking about the Hellcats. Remember that?
Yeah. And somewhere in one of the pirate books, we found out that that's what women pirates were called.
Hellcats.
Hellcats.
Pirate men and
There are a few famous women pirates. If you get the Time Life book on pirates.
I see.
But Google it sometime.
Okay.
Famous women pirates in history, not current. I don't know if there are any famous women pirates over in the Gulf right now, but hijackers. I hope not.
Somehow doubt it.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, so that was a fun show. Just, all the women pirates in that show. And I think, our first show we opened with a group show, and there were 8 sections of wall. So we had each one of us had a section, and Kevin never showed up. He would have been behind the door. The last one there. That's a door. That's a wall you're gonna get. And it was fun. That first year was fun. I remember the first night we opened. I think the first night we opened, Max Price came walking up the stairs and down the hall. He was the art critic for the Post at the time, so he popped right in. And 3 months into it, Westward gave us a really nice big write-up with little pictures of all of us and stuff. I wonder if that's anywhere on the archives anywhere.
We'll search it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like March of 80.
Post it again.
March of 80,
Okay.
something like that.
Oh.
When I was skinny. And, it was funny. Jack, I'm trying to remember the other members. Damn, I can't remember. But anyway, I got 6 out of 8. That's pretty good, I guess.
So now Palia is the only critic in town.
What's that?
Palia is the only art critic in town. It's using for.
Well, they got that guy at the Post.
Oh.
Mark
Rinaldi. Okay.
And I've never met him. I don't know. I wouldn't know him if he walked in, but he's doing a little bit. He's done some really good articles, actually. But I don't know if he's been over here. I don't know if he's been over here, actually.
I've never met him.
He did a paragraph on Rian's show.
Oh, really?
And called her he 5 times. In a paragraph. Yeah. Shouldn't have done that.
We've had a few snafus this year with journalists who write about a show and they
totally misquoted.
They said like one guy's drawings were all prints.
They're what?
He said one artist's drawings were all prints when they were actually hand drawn, and of course, he was upset.
Oh yeah.
Then,
Oh yeah.
You know.
Sometimes they just get it wrong. They do.
It's like,
Sometimes
do you
they
even
get it
know what you're
wrong.
writing about?
That's what happens when they have a bunch of unpaid
Interns, yeah.
And sometimes too, they write something like that paragraph from a press release instead of actually coming to see the show or something.
Yeah.
They'll just lift it from the press release. That's lazy. Mary Chandler, when she was with the news, she used to come over, like we opened the show on a Friday night, Edge, whatever, different galleries around town. She'd be there the next morning.
Oh, wow.
She didn't come to openings, but she'd come over on that first Saturday. She liked the alternative galleries. So, yeah. She, friend of the alternative galleries, and most of the Westward critics have been too, down through the years. But different. 1, 2. I can think of 1, 2, 3. I can only think of 3. I have to ask Michael how far back they go as far as critics. But
so, kind of being like a pioneer in Denver as far as the co-op galleries. How do you feel it's different from like where it is today, and where do you think it is? The Denver art scene is going in the future.
Different from when we opened?
Yeah, from the very beginnings. I mean, you basically came and you saw it basically had nothing or next to nothing.
From very few galleries to quite a few.
Yeah.
Well, when we opened, you know what our old name was? Pirate, a contemporary art oasis.
An oasis.
That's a bold statement. An oasis is a nice little place in the middle of a vast wasteland kind of definition. Yeah. But a few years back, I don't know, 10 years or so ago, I probably should have done it sooner. I realized, wait a minute, there's some really good galleries in town, and calling ourselves an oasis is a slap in their face, so we're going to drop that. And we just dropped the name to Pirate Contemporary Art. So, but that was our original name. And I came up with that as, highfalutin. But it kind of hit the nail on the head, we thought at the time, especially with the words contemporary art. So many really good commercial galleries have opened, and so many of them have recruited our people.
Which ones are your favorite?
Well, Robichon, Robin, which she's not there anymore, plus Space. Sandy Carson used to be real good. It's changed. Well, it changed from Sandy to Ben Stratton, and now it's Art Students League is running it. Sandy's helping them, probably helping them run it. Redline is just killer. Oh my God! When I walked into that, I said, God, it's the biggest art gallery in Denver.
Yeah.
And it's like LA, New York size, cavernous space, just wonderful. Space, Bobby Walker, let me think.